So what we're doing in this next project is changing up the backyard landscaping bit. So this is limestone on here, and we're changing all these stone pavers to limestone as well. At the moment they're silver travertine. There's a barbecue down here. That's been there for 4 years. That's on some pavers. That's going to move up to here. So it's more part of the pool area and the seating there. And there's going to be a pergola over the top of that. That's what those posts are for. We've drawn it up, so that's basically the plan. There'll be garden bed down that end there with a fire pit in the middle, almost where it is there. And over here, off this outdoor room, here there's going to be 3 rows of limestone pavers going all the way to the barbecue. And then limestone pavers running along the house here with white pebble between them to improve drainage rather than the grass, because the grass hasn't worked. Look how easy these come up. So I've got a few people on the hook for these.
Right.
Oh. So this is the turf cutter I hired. And this here is the depth, so you can set that blade that's slicing to any depth you want. You can see it. So it comes up in, it's already cut. So we're moving the barbecue down that end of the yard, and where it was sitting here, I've lifted the pavers, sold those 12 pavers, and we've turned the soil, mulched it, and planted some tropical species plants. And I've just dug in a garden border so the grass that's eventually laid here doesn't grow into the bed. So we pulled up the grass that we cut a couple of days ago, and that's all gone to the vegetation tip. And we're in the process of after fine-tuning the soil level, getting the river sand out here, about 1.5 cubic meters of river sand. It should be about 50 mil thick. It's a matter of fiddling around with it and leveling it and checking it with the screed that it's running downhill. So just got to make sure the levels are right before you put the pavers down. So I'm just screeding the sand and making sure the levels all run down to that corner. So the paving sand was fairly dry, but you've got to wet it down so it all bonds together and pack down better. So I've dug the holes down 600 mil, 2 foot, to take these H4 posts. And digging wise, we're pretty clay soil here, so I use this the trenchinator and the post hole digger, bit by bit, down 600. And they have to be exact because they sit in the 175 mil gap between the pavers. These are 112 mil thick, so it's fairly exacting. You've got to get 112 mil post to sit in the middle of a 175 mil gap. So we've chosen a limestone stepper or limestone paver, 30mm thick, very heavy. These are about 30 kilos each. But anyway, those 800 by 400 sit in pairs to create an 800 by 800 square, and they sit on this paving sand we've got here and down that walkway there. So the sand is flat, and now it's time to lay the pavers, laying them in pairs with the white pebble between. So in between these, which is going to be fantastic for drainage as well, because as I said, this is a very flat block. We've got white pebble going in between, and basically it creates a huge gravel drain. In here, where the grass is going, I will be putting a sock drain. This here, well, that's 65mm. So dig a 65mm little baby trench around the inside of this tile, so that'll channel away down into that corner as well with this sock drain. So all the pavers have been laid, and the posts sit in that slot where I measured them to be for the pergola, and I'll continue putting the pebbles around. I had to dig this trench for the sock drain, so just make sure it runs downhill, and that'll improve drainage no end off the grass when it eventually is here. Okay, so I've laid the drainage ag pipe with the sock, and now that's sitting on a bed of about 50mm of gravel, of blue metal, 10mm blue metal, and then you then fill around it and on top of it with the same. So I'm here getting coach screws and bolts for the pergola. This is the stirrup that sits on the retaining wall that takes two of these at the back, post each, and these are held into the retaining wall with dyno bolts. So I've completed the front beam, these ones here with stirrups. These are coach screws up here, those coach screws I got at the hardware, and these are the dyno bolts I got at the hardware. So the turf is laid. It's Sir Grange zoysia, which is a fine leaf grass, very shade tolerant and drought tolerant once it's established. Needs about half hour, 45 minutes of watering a day for the first 3 weeks. It's come up nice and flush with the paving stones, and that'll take a few weeks to establish.